Hey guys, what's up, Zyflin here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys all of the weapons that are currently available in the Hyperscape technical test. As it stands right now, there are 9 different weapons in Hyperscape, and all of them have their own sort of like unique upgrading paths, because weapons in Hyperscape can be upgraded if you pick up like another version of the same weapon that you already have, right? So let's say I have a level 3 shotgun. If I were to pick up a level 1 shotgun, it would then turn into a level 4 shotgun, and it would increase, like, you know, magazine capacity and damage and stuff like that. So what we're going to be doing today is testing out all of the weapons, seeing what all of their fully upgraded versions do, and of course the best way to go about using them whenever you're playing Hyperscape, Crime Rush, whatever the case may be. So first off, we've got the Mammoth Mark-1, so this is your pump action shotgun. Pretty standard. Let's go ahead and upgrade it, because honestly, getting your weapon to the maxed version isn't too hard. You just have to pick it up multiple times, right? So you have to pick up a total of 5 times, I believe. So you pick it up once, you get the base version, then you pick it up again, you get level 2, level 3, level 4, then level 5, and that increased our magazine capacity, I think, 3 times there, and then, or it increased it 4 times, and then gave us a damage benefit on top of the final magazine capacity benefit, as you can see. So this is my fully fused Mammoth Mark-1. So if we just go ahead and we shoot the guy in the chest, this is probably the best way to use it. I get 105 damage out of that, and it's just 2 shots to kill, so you just one after the other follow up. Whenever you aim down sights with this thing and go for a headshot, you deal considerably less damage. That was only 98 there. I think it depends on how many pellets you land. So if you're really up close like so, you're going to one-shot. You deal the full 120, which is how much you need to kill an enemy. But if you're shooting from like a normal range, right? So let's say you're chasing somebody, you're going to want to aim for the chest to get as many shots on target, and then just follow up with another chest shot. I think that's going to be the most optimal way to use the shotgun. If we move on, we have the Riot 1. This is the Deagle of Hyperscape. This here thing is insane. Every single time you fuse it, you get an upgrade to the damage. It's really cool. It takes about 3 shots to kill. I would recommend going for 2 headshots and then following up with a body shot. Let's actually test that out. Let's see if I go for 1 headshot, 1, 2. So you go for 1 headshot, 2 body shots. Same thing, really. So it melts people. It's a really satisfying weapon to use. It requires you to be pretty accurate, and there are definitely better weapons in this game, which we'll talk about whenever we get to the explosives category, which is over there. But if you pick this here up and you're accurate, you're good at tapping the head, tapping the body, just landing your shots, you're going to get a kill with the Riot 1. So moving on, we've got the Dtap here. Now this thing is ripped straight from Titanfall. It's basically a smart pistol, so we increase magazine size, magazine size, magazine size, then magazine size and damage. And you'll see that if I aim at an enemy and he's within this big sort of crosshair, and I just hold down the trigger, it's going to automatically track to him. Now, I can't like shoot 2 enemies at the one time, which sucks. But if I aim down sights, it tightens that crosshair, and then I have a faster fire rate. So let's say you're like, I don't know, you're shooting at somebody with a shotgun, and you just need to deal a little bit more damage. Swap to your Dtap, and then aim down sights. Obviously tracking him well, and then you'll be able to finish him off pretty quickly, right? So, yeah, that's the Dtap. It's okay. It deals very little damage, 6 damage per shot, but damage numbers are deceiving, right? So, we're moving on to the most overpowered weapon in the game. This is the Skybreaker. This thing is absolutely nuts. You increase it, you get damage, 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 damage. So, whenever you're fully upgraded, you have a ton of damage, and you actually deal more damage by shooting the floor with this thing than direct impacting. So if we direct impact this guy, you see we deal 43 damage, but if we jump in the air, shoot the floor, you see that we deal 68 damage to all those surrounding enemies. So it's actually like a 2-shot kill if you're accurate enough. So shoot this behind enemies or in front of them. Sort of try to lead your shot a little bit. Don't try to go for direct impacts, because you're not going to deal the optimal amount of damage that way. Shoot the floor, and you'll kill people a lot quicker. Had to pick up a little bit of ammo there. The drawback to this thing is the fact that you have to reload it every single time you fire a shot. I still think it's an amazing weapon, because you shoot one of these shots out, you have effectively taken out half of their health, then you swap to like a rifle or a pistol or something, and they're gonna die in no time. So we move on to the Salvo Epl. This thing I'm not that big of a fan of. It reminds me a lot of Junkrat. So a lot of magazine bonuses and damage bonuses there. Doesn't deal the most damage, you know, 31 damage direct impact compared to the Skybreaker. Literally no competition there. You know, you're dealing upwards of 60 damage with the Skybreaker. This thing is nice, like, radius to it, but you have to be, like, almost direct impacting them with it. It's an alright weapon to just spam into a room or something, but you're not going to be getting into a lot of close range engagements where enemies are sort of trapped in rooms unless you're, like, using the wall hack or something to sort of trap enemies, if that makes any sense. So this weapon is okay. It's alright in very specific scenarios, but even then I would still consider using a Skybreaker over this thing. Last but not least, in the explosive category, we've got the Caboodle. This here thing, not the best in my opinion. It's pretty bad, probably the worst explosive in the game. Again, a lot of magazine upgrades and a single damage upgrade there. Direct impact, 25. You shoot the floor, again, is 25. So it's got decent range on it. You just sort of shoot the floor, spam it. You can hold down the trigger, but it hasn't got the biggest magazine capacity in the world. So actually, you can't hold down the trigger. I was just tapping it. So you have to tap the trigger really quick. But even then, you're limited to how fast you can fire with it. So just sort of felt like I was holding down the trigger there because it was a little bit delayed. So I don't know. This weapon, wouldn't recommend picking it up anytime, really. But moving on to the snipers, this is the Protocol 5. This here thing is really, really, really cool. A lot of damage upgrades on this. You aim at the head, they die. You aim at the body, 80 damage. Body shot again, they die. And it doesn't really have, you know, any range fall off here because it's a sniper. So it's 2-shot body shot if you're not that good at aiming, 1-shot headshot if you're decent at aiming. So, you know, this sniper, really satisfying to use if enemies are in the open, jumping about on rooftops and stuff like that. Just use it to click their heads and they die. So moving on to the rifle category, we've got the Hex Fire here. Now the Hex Fire is one of my personal favorites. Magazine size, magazine size, magazine size, magazine size plus damage. This thing, you just hold down the trigger and it shreds, right? You're dealing little damage per shot, but it's kind of accurate and you can just trace and track people with it, no problem, you know? So especially in those like really hectic fights, you're using this thing, you're trying to go for a headshot, it'll drop them really fast, especially if you've got the maxed out version of it where you have 270 ammo. It's crazy strong. You pair this with the Skybreaker and that's your meta setup. And then last but not least, we have the Ripper. A lot of people I've seen, they don't really like the Ripper that much. Magazine, 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 and damage. I think that it deals good DPS, especially if you're hitting the head, right? 19 damage per shot on headshot. So if you're good at tracking, you're dealing decent damage. Even with body shots, you know, you drop enemies quite quick. It's just that it's got a lower magazine size in comparison to the Ripper. So I would say either the Hex Fire. Either the Ripper or the Hex Fire are a good secondary whenever you combine it with the likes of the Skybreaker here. You know, like you shoot a Skybreaker shot, right? Shoot at the floor, then you swap, hold down left click, enemies die. You can just like wipe a whole squad in literally no time with either of these combos, you know? So let's pick this here up and jump over. Shoot one shot, hold down left click, and they die pretty quickly, right? So I would say that the Skybreaker plus any weapon that the situation calls for would be a good setup, right? You could use the Skybreaker and you could use the what's it called, the Riot 1. You could use the Skybreaker and you could use the Sniper, the Protocol 5, yep. And then you could use the Skybreaker and the Hex Fire or the Ripper. And again, like I said, upgrading your weapons all the way up to level 5 isn't extremely difficult. So all you have to do is run into a few buildings, pick up duplicates off your already existing weapon, and then you could also maybe kill an enemy who has the same weapon. And even sometimes you run into areas like big landmarks in the map where I've got the already fully maxed out version of a weapon, and 9 times out of 10 it's usually like a Hex Fire or a Skybreaker. There's one area in the map, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's kind of like a church, and I run in there and I usually get a maxed out Skybreaker or a Hex Fire from the get-go, and then a maxed out hack. And I'll have a video of all the hacks coming out tomorrow, so you know, make sure to hit the sub button with the bell and like the video and stuff for that. And yeah, this is a really fun game. I really enjoy it. Lots of skill whenever it comes to tracking targets, chasing them, and just hitting shots, you know, that their type of thing. But I do think that this Skybreaker needs a nerf, so you know, that's all I can really say about it. Don't understand why it deals less damage and direct impact. It's kind of weird, but yeah. Overall, I think Skybreaker needs nerf. Maybe the Hex Fire needs like a magazine capacity reduction, but other than that, I think the game is pretty balanced in the state that it's in. But definitely let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Leave a like in the video, subscribe for more Hyperscape content, and I will see you guys in the next one.